Yo, what is up YouTube? Today we are back with another Warzone Pro Tips video. In today's video we're going to be talking about comms and just communications in general. The really point of this video is to where you're sharing information with your teammates, they're sharing information with you, so everyone's on the same level playing field so that you get a leg up on your opponent because you have a ton of information on them. So let's get straight into it. All right, so let's talk about one of the biggest things with comms. So a lot of people are really spoiled. They watch streamers or YouTubers and they'll be playing with their friends, playing with their streamer friends, but nobody's really saying anything. They're running through teams back to back to back to back, and there's no comms. They're just talking, they're having fun. And that's just unrealistic for the vast majority of people. Most people are going to need those hard comms to win those gunfights. And so some people have gotten to the point where they're watching all these streamers and they're like, maybe I don't have to do this. And that's where they're really lacking on. So let's try to work on some of those key aspects. So this video that we have for first is a very, very short one. This is a very basic one. Give information on your opponent when you know it, and also update your teammates on that information as it changes. So we're going to start. Dakota and I, we're playing a 2v2 tournament today, and this is where all this footage is from. So let's go straight into it. I didn't get my other full. I got him for you. All right. Nice. Dakota finishes my full. All right, so basically this is the situation that we're in. We've just wiped hospital, we thought, but there's one more. And Dakota, as you can see, is on the top of hospital here, and he's shooting somebody on this other wing of hospital. And so his comm is right here, which isn't really a good comm, but it's good because he active marks the person. Active marks are good because not only do they show up on your screen, hold up, we'll put it on the screen. They show up on the screen down here in the bottom right, but they also show up here in the top on the map. So I can see them in two places, and that makes it really easy for me to know what he's shooting at. So the reason that I don't immediately chow it when he calls it out is because I have an OTS 9, so I can't really shoot that far. That's a pretty far shot, and he's shooting with the stoner with the 4 times on it, so it's pretty easy for him. So plate box on here. He's gonna shoot a few more times. I kind of ignore it. He calls out that he's cracked, and so Dakota goes down to the dude. But since he called out that he was cracked, I went and chowed it with my gun and ended up getting the knock, only because he said that he was cracked. I knew I only had to put a couple bullets in him, and I shot him twice and he went down. And that was all because of the information that Dakota gave me. So let's stack up some more information on top of this so that we have a good foundation. All right, so in this second clip, Dakota and I are flying around looking for people to fight. We have just popped a UAV, and you could tell that because of this little ping up in the top left minimap. We just popped a UAV, and a couple people are going to show up on Stadium. So we're going to go push Stadium, and we're going to make sure that everyone knows the exact same thing. So we call Stadium. I see someone shooting off the top here. Right in front of us near the red letters at the end. He's a bot, like literally a bot. Yep, so I call right beside him. And one thing that I do want to note is when Dakota was just shooting him right there, right before I crushed him with the heli, he went live mark. But this is a different kind of live mark because Dakota was actually using the new perk, the Combat Scout, I believe it's called, which when you're shooting them, live marks them for your teammates. So if you do have a hard time calming things and, it just slips your mind when you're fighting people, I recommend using Combat Scout. Now, this goes in front of your amped perk, so if you can't give up amped, I understand that. So make sure that you are calming, but if worst comes to worst, you cannot calm at all when you're fighting, use Combat Scout. It will help your teammates immensely. There's a few more people showing up on UAV here. You know that because the down arrow, I know that I don't have to look up in the sky because they're all down arrow, which we covered in our UAV video. I call out one's right underneath me. I spray him down. Dakota has the same information, and when a UAV is popped, I do want to mention, you don't really have to give as good info. If your teammates, know how to read a UAV properly, I just call them right below me, and that it essentially just means the one right beside me on the map, and Dakota knows this, so all he says is K. He doesn't really have any issues with that. If your teammates ever say something that you don't understand, it's not weird to just, say, hey, what do you mean by that? Or, you need better information, because again, winning these fights is a lot about the info that you have before you enter them. So let's get into another clip. All right, so this clip is a little bit different than the one before. We have no UAV or no information like that, so we need to be bouncing more information off of each other. Once somebody gets something, they tell it to the other person and vice versa. So let's go ahead and start the clip. I thought I saw somebody in this house and there was nothing. And then a res goes up in the air. I make sure to call him that as soon as I can. I'm gonna turn myself down just a tad. And I've just told Dakota that I have a Deddy. I shoot this guy a few times, and the reason I didn't really give a good comm on that, all I said was I shot him a few times, is because I know Dakota saw my bullets. And this is something you don't really, especially on early stages, if you're playing with a new team or something, you don't really want to bank on information you think that they know. It's really good to just comm everything, and that's where I went wrong. You know, especially when we're playing in a 2v2 setting, some things are, you know, our fights are going really, really quickly. I'm not doing everything correctly. Nobody's doing everything correctly. So there's always, you know, a good, you know, you can always look back and improve upon. I could have told him more, but in this situation, we ended up knowing everything. He ended up calming to me that there were 2 up here, so I killed 1 and then instantly chowed the room because he said that there were 2. I'm gonna take his word for it. Chowed again, and this guy happened to not have any plates, so that made it super easy. And that's basically the end of the clip. So essentially, especially when you don't have a UAV, make sure you're bouncing that information off of each other. So in this one, we do not have a UAV, but we do have some information. There are some people over here near these buildings. Here's Corner Peach, the one that I was talking about earlier. And so let's see what happens with our fight. Again, there's no UAV. We don't have information like that, so we need to be talking. So Dakota's right beside me in heli. We both have helis. I've just called out that they're Corner Peach. They're actually not in Corner Peach, but Dakota knows this, which is a small mishap that I made. These guys look kind of sweaty. I call out that they're kind of sweaty, and you know, you'll watch streamers and they'll be like, hey, this guy's a bot, or hey, this guy's sweaty. And a lot of the time, especially for me, I'm not trying to demean the people that I'm fighting against, or, you know, make them think that they're better than they actually are. I either say that someone's bad or like a bot, or they're sweaty in gunfights to make my teammates know what's going on, what I've seen. If I see somebody slide canceling all crazy, I'm going to say that they're sweaty so that my teammate and I take a little bit more precaution during the gunfight. You know, if I say that they're a bot, we can all kind of let loose, which you really shouldn't do. But, you know, it saves, we fight, you know, day in, day out. I have, you know, like 60,000 plus kills. I can't always be on my A game, especially in public matches. And so that's what the sweaty and bot callouts mean. I do recommend incorporating that into your comms, because there are some gunfights where you don't really have to try that much to win. Dakota comms that he downed one, I down the other, and I get shot by cop, which I'll call him here in just a second.
All right, hold on.
Dakota, you know, recognizes that. It's good to recognize your teammates' comms so that they know that you're on the same level or playing field. Dakota chows, downs him. He let me know, so I'm going to go push. I wasn't quite sure where he downed him, which is something that could have been calmed in hindsight. I hear him get res down low.
He res 2 of them. Got him again. Hold the 1.
And then I go and look for this other guy and get the kill. Basically, I do want to say, this clip, a few things went wrong. You know, what basically went wrong here is that we didn't really have a name for this building here. And having names for all buildings is good. You know, if you could have a name for every single building on the map, that'd be optimal, but that's just not how it works. For buildings like this, it kind of sucks because a lot of the times we call out colors for building names, but there's a peach building here, a peach building here, a peach building here, and a peach building here. They're all peach color, so we can't really use the color. So we kind of did whereabouts there, but using building names is really good. If you want me to make a small guide on building names, I can, but generally, you know, using ones that your teammates understand will work pretty good. So let's do a little recap. If you take anything from this video, update your teammates on information as you know it. You know, so if at the beginning of the fight, you know that someone's in this building, say, hey, they're in the blue building. If you hit them, say that they're broke. Giving those live updates and live marking opponents will give you and your opponents the best chance to, you know, win these fights, and not just win them by luck, but win them by skill and, you know, the knowledge that you have. Knowledge comes, you know, it goes a really long way in games like this. It adds into game sense. So skill plus game sense and knowledge, you know, you're going to be wiping people like crazy. I do appreciate you guys for making it to the end of the video, though. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day. Peace.